than human. In some places they were referred to as monkeys. You know, you name it, human beings all over this planet were referred to as everything but human. And so I learned early on, I absorbed a lot of misinformation. I was fed a lot of misinformation. I absorbed it, and I unfortunately believed a lot of lies. And so as a result, my self-esteem was, to call it low was given it a compliment. It was lower than low. And so because I wanted to feel better about myself, and I wanted to fit in, and I wanted to believe that I was somebody, because I didn't know who I was, I fell for every, how could I say this? I don't even know how to describe it, but every goofball scheme that anybody could fall for, I fell for. And so as a result, I suffered a lot of emotional trauma and emotional problems and issues that I later had to get a lot of help for because I was that confused. So you look at me today, you don't see any of that. If you see me walking down the street, people do, they say, hi, oh, this is nice, you look nice, blah, 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 and that's true. However, as a little kid, I was fed a lot of misinformation that I believed and I internalized, and as I grew, I acted out in a lot of ways that did not compliment me. So I'm saying all that to say that if you've been fed a lot of lies about who you are, do something about it. Do not let yourself sit in that. Get back in school. If you dropped out, go back to school right now. Get yourself some African American history classes. Get yourself some women history classes. Get yourself some Asian American history class, some Filipino American history class, some Chinese American history class. Get yourself some information that can snuff out all the misinformation that you've been fed. And, you know, while this is truly the greatest country on the planet, I'm not crazy. I know that. I'm clear about that. There's a lot of misinformation in this country. So make sure that you check your source when you're fed information, historical information, but especially information about yourself. Learn about your family trees. While I was spending time with my daughter for her 30th birthday, I was able to share with her some information about our family that she wasn't aware of, that improved her self-esteem. Like, for instance, my daughter is an instructor in a beauty college, and she didn't know that her great-grandmother was a hairdresser. So here she's been working on these beauty degrees and had no idea that her grandmother on her father's side was a hairdresser. So many of us have talents that we can trace back in our family lineage as long as we learn something about our families. But even if you're adopted and you don't know nothing about your family, make something up. Make something up that you admire, that you respect, that you believe. You know, tell yourself that your father was a governor in Arkansas in, what, 1865. Well, maybe not that. You can look that up and find out that that wouldn't be true. But make something up. Even if you're adopted, make something up that you believe, that you admire, that you might not be able to trace for sure to find out, but you can live your life from this moment on as if it were true. You can live your life as if your ancestor were a governor or a king or a queen or a mother or a father or a teacher or a milkman or a bread man. You don't have to settle for any misinformation about yourself if, in fact, you have learned some things that don't work for you. I don't have a lot of time left, but I had the opportunity to, and I'm talking about this historical stuff because I had the opportunity to go to a healing grief workshop in San Francisco a few weeks ago that was facilitated by Dr. Brenda Wade, and you probably have seen her on Oprah or CNN or somewhere. And if you really want to improve your outlook on life and your outlook about yourself and your outlook about your family and your community, if you hear of any work doing around healing your grief, because we all have grief. You know, grief turns into disease, physical diseases or biological diseases if you don't do something about it, like stress. But if you have the opportunity to do some internal work on healing grief, please don't hesitate. There's an agency in San Francisco, BCA, and I didn't bring the phone number with me, but I will next week or the next time I'm on the show. But I went to a workshop that was free that allowed me to do some healing for my own self on my own grief. You know, grief of lost marriages, grief of, you know, a parent that's deceased, grief of my own African history that I didn't grow up in school learning about. You know, I got to do a lot of work on myself personally and on my own grief around, you know, the information about myself and my history that I didn't have. And I encourage anybody here in America to do some historical work. You know, everybody here came from someplace else. Europe, China, Philippines, Africa. Do some work to try to heal the pain and agony that your ancestors experienced when they left the countries that they left. Do some work, especially if you're Native American, around the pain and agony that your ancestors experienced when this nation was being, I'm going to be nice tonight, when it was being changed. I don't usually say that. I usually say a lot of other things. But when this nation was being changed, do some work around the healing of the things that happened on this very land that we're standing on, so that our future generations can travel the world in love. I always say, just think if Christopher Columbus had been traveling around, going to all these countries and saying, hey, you're my brother. I don't look like you and you don't look like me, but you're my brother. And we have blood, we have lungs, we have eyes, we have ears. We're the same. Just think of people who traveled the world, saw themselves as sisters and brothers, and saw everybody they met as sisters and brothers. Like, what a concept. Peace, right? What a concept. Peace on earth, all over the earth. You know, like, I think, you know, sometimes people tell me I'm too, like, too fantasy land, too Hollywood. But I believe that one heart is big enough to heal another heart. And I believe that if half the planet exercises the power of healing, that means the other half is already healed. Like if everybody in this country declares that their heart is full of love and that their heart is healed, that means that the rest of the world will just join in. Because, you know, America's supposed to be a world leader. And we're not supposed to be, we are. So, you know, I know I'm talking a lot and I'm talking fast. You might want to take some notes. But, you know, I'm just really excited tonight about the possibilities for the future. I had a chance to see, like I go to Texas a lot. I got 5 minutes. I go to Texas a lot. Here's a good example of what I live in. I go to Texas a lot. And I see people, white people, black people, Chinese people, Filipino people, all in one place, laughing, talking, singing, playing, marrying each other. Now think back to 1865 and further. This was a land where people were getting lynched and people were running for their lives and people were being, you know, I mean, all kind of very tragic things took place. But here, just think, 1865, fast forward to 2009, the same very land. People, I saw people on a dance floor dancing together on the same music, hugging each other, laughing, singing, eating food together. When I see things like that and I think about the historical events that have happened, not just in this country, you know, we can go to Germany. We can go all over the world to different things that have happened historically where certain groups of people were hurt